Lawmakers recently decided they were going to fix the entire internet by forcing every website to check your ID at the digital door, and the only thing they actually accomplished was accidentally funding a massive, shady underground economy of privacy workarounds. Like, they genuinely stood at podiums, patted themselves on the back, and promised that uploading your literal driver's license to random servers was going to keep everyone safe, completely ignoring the fact that human beings have been bypassing age restrictions since the invention of the drop down menu. But instead of just teenagers clicking a button to lie about their birthday, these new laws basically created a multi-million dollar black market for digital workarounds overnight. We are talking about a completely unhinged ecosystem where supposedly protective legislation just forced everyone to figure out how to spoof their identity, mask their location, or hand over their data to sketchy offshore bypass tools just to read an article or watch a video. It is the ultimate backfire mechanism. The politicians literally tried to put a velvet rope in front of the entire internet. And in response, an entire industry of digital lockpicks was born to specifically dismantle it. And the wildest part is that nobody in charge seems to realize that by trying to build a walled garden, they just taught an entire generation of internet users how to become amateur cybersecurity hackers just to access basic websites. They sold this entire concept as a foolproof way to make the web safer, but the reality is they just incentivized a massive data harvesting free-for-all where everyone is looking for the fastest way to game the system without getting caught. The immediate and most hilarious consequence of this entire digital ID mandate was the unprecedented explosion of VPN downloads the absolute second these laws actually went into effect. Like, we saw states pass these strict verification mandates on a Tuesday, and by Wednesday morning, completely random virtual private network apps were skyrocketing to the very top of the App Store charts, beating out stuff like Instagram and TikTok. People who previously didn't even know what an IP address was were suddenly routing their evening web traffic through servers in Romania just to bypass a state-mandated ID checkpoint. It is genuinely so funny to look at the data because the lawmakers thought they were building an impenetrable fortress, but they actually just created the greatest free marketing campaign in the history of VPN companies. And here is where the safety argument completely falls apart and the irony gets incredibly thick. Instead of users staying on regulated, somewhat monitored domestic platforms, they are now just downloading free VPNs, oftentimes incredibly sketchy VPNs that are notorious for harvesting and selling user data. So in the grand name of protecting consumer privacy and keeping people safe online, the government essentially forced millions of casual internet users to voluntarily route all of their personal web traffic through unverified third-party servers run by completely anonymous developers who are legally bound to absolutely nothing. People are quite literally handing over their entire browsing history, their passwords, and their private communications to shady offshore data brokers just so they don't have to upload a picture of their ID, which sort of defeats the quote-unquote safety aspects of these laws. But the bypass economy didn't just stop at location spoofing, because an entirely new, incredibly sketchy industry of third-party age verification tools suddenly popped up out of nowhere to profit off the chaos. These are the companies that basically pitch themselves as the middleman, promising websites that they will handle the messy legal stuff by verifying your ID so the website doesn't have to. But the problem is that nobody actually bothered to check who is checking the checkers. You have these completely random, virtually unregulated tech startups suddenly hoarding millions of highly sensitive government documents, selfies, and biometric face scans from everyday people who just want to access a social media platform. And the absolute crazy part is that a lot of these pop-up verification companies have some of the worst cybersecurity possible. They are basically massive, glowing digital honeypots just waiting to be cracked open by bad actors. We are already seeing reports of researchers easily looking under the hood of these supposed privacy-first tools and finding out that they are quietly piggybacking on your data, sharing your device hardware specs, and logging your specific browsing habits to sell to advertisers. So the legislation that was specifically written to stop unauthorized data collection ended up forcing users to explicitly hand hand over their most sensitive, unchangeable biological and legal information to the lowest bidder in the tech sector. It is a total privacy nightmare wrapped in the illusion of compliance, where the cure is actively proving to be so much more toxic than the original disease, turning your driver's license into a tradable commodity on the back end of a system you never even wanted to be a part of. As if the VPNs and sketchy data brokers weren't bad enough, this entire situation naturally resulted in the most predictable consequence of all, which is the absolute golden age of the digital fake ID market. Like back in the day, getting a fake ID meant, I don't know, finding some dude in your college dorm who said they got you and hoping the bouncer didn't look too closely at the terrible hologram. But the modern bypass economy is completely digital, completely automated, and terrifyingly efficient. The second these websites started requiring actual photo evidence of a driver's license, anonymous forums and Telegram groups absolutely exploded with AI-generated ID templates, synthetic identities, and deep fake face generators designed specifically to trick these automated verification systems. We are talking about literal teenagers using completely free artificial intelligence tools to generate hyper-realistic state IDs that sail right through the weaker, upload-only verification checkpoints, the ones that just want a photo with no live face check to catch them. The system was designed to stop kids, but it actually just motivated them to master synthetic media and digital forgery on a level that is genuinely blowing the minds of cybersecurity experts. And the really scary part is that these same AI forgery tools were already tearing through the financial world long before any of this. The exact kind of synthetic identities people generate to beat age gates are the ones already used to open fraudulent bank accounts and dodge crypto regulations, which is just insane to think about. Today, though, what these laws actually did was pour millions of ordinary people into that same ecosystem, handing a mature fraud industry a flood of fresh demand and teaching a whole generation to fake who they are just to get online. When you step back and look at the sheer scale of the bypass economy that has been built over the last year, the grand irony of this entire situation becomes impossible to ignore. Lawmakers took a complex, highly nuanced internet safety issue and tried to solve it with the absolute bluntest instrument imaginable, fundamentally misunderstanding how the internet and human nature actually work. They treated the web like a physical building with a single front door, completely forgetting that it actually has like a billion different windows. The push for age verification didn't make the internet a safer place. It just made it a vastly more complicated, heavily surveilled, and significantly more dangerous environment where your most private information is the ultimate currency. We traded a system where people just lied on a drop-down menu for a system where people are actively downloading malware, routing their traffic through sketchy international servers, and generating deep-fake legal documents just to maintain a shred of digital anonymity. The people who suffer the most are the everyday users who follow the rules and willingly hand their passports over to unsecured third-party databases, while the people the law was actually trying to stop are just clicking past the barricades using tools they found on a Reddit thread. It is a textbook example of a catastrophic policy backfire, proving once again that whenever you try to forcibly mandate digital behavior without understanding the underlying technology, you do not fix the problem. You just make the workarounds more popular. Anyways, that's it for this video. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time.